and welcome back to SciTi Tech. In this video, I want to do a teardown of this water jet toothbrush. I want to see how it works, and I want to see if there's any parts worth salvaging. Let's get started. First, what I want to do is examine this device. I want to see how this can be taken apart by looking at different parts of it. It looks to me like right here, just simply unplugs. So just simply pull it, but it doesn't come out that easily, so what I need to do is take a tool and pull it out. Having difficulty pulling out, and it's not quite coming out, so what I'll just do is just cut it. And this part here removes easily. Has a little bit of grease on it, so that's normal. Oh wait, I guess I should have pushed this button. Whoops. Well, if I pushed this button it would have been a lot easier. Oh well, just simply push the button and it comes out just like this. And now let's go a little deeper. And as you can see, there are no obvious screws, so what I need to do is take this flathead screwdriver and just simply pry it open. Kind of breaks apart a little bit, so I need to keep digging a little deeper. Working it, and there, it comes out just like this. Interesting. And right here is the circuit. A very interesting, simple circuit. A bunch of surface mount components that are potentially useful, but I may not use actually. The LEDs, however, may be useful. And some of these little transistors, and more LEDs and push button switches, which I could possibly use for other projects. Pushing the button and you can see the LEDs light up, which means it still works. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is do what I always do. See a screw, take a screw, see a screw, take a screw, and remove all the screws that I can find. All I have to do is push this nut inside, and that will hold the nut in place and unscrew the screw. Push it down, just like this. And there, all the screws are now removed. Now I'm going to carefully open it up. Separates a little bit, but what I need to do is cut the tube. And there, it comes out just like this. Now it should be easier to open up. Not opening up completely because it's being held down by the circuit, because those wires that are sticking out is what's holding the circuit into place. I don't want to mess with desoldering, so what I'll just do is cut the wires. It's a lot quicker and easier. And there, the bottom part of the circuit is now removed. I'm very curious to see how this bottom piece works because this bottom piece is where the wireless charging is. I'm just simply going to go ahead and take these wire cutters and just simply cut it up. And basically chip away the plastic, allowing me to be able to reveal how this device works. Oh, how interesting. It's basically just to have a transformer. Makes sense because if you have a transformer with a wire wrapped around the iron core, it creates an electromagnetic field that is focused in one direction. Now, if I were to take two of these and put them together, it creates a full transformer. Normally in a transformer, there are two coils. One that is the primary coil, and the other is the secondary coil. And now let's go ahead and open up the housing a little bit more because I want to remove the rechargeable battery and remove the DC motor. And there, the DC motor is now removed. And there, the rest of this housing I can discard, and this DC motor is a very nice DC motor. Oh, and you can see the shaft is a little bit crooked. That allows a vibration to occur. Next, I'm going to go ahead and work on the second part of this device. Simply remove the unnecessary parts. And you can see there's a lot of obvious screws. So again, see a screw, take a screw, see a screw, take a screw, and remove all of the screws that I can find. And there, all the screws are now removed, and now it's time to open up the housing. I'm going to go ahead and pop this part out. And there we go, this part's useless, so throw it away. And now open up the second part of the housing. Oh, and as you can see, it's another circuit. Ah, okay, I found where there's the second half of that transformer. Interesting. So it's definitely a transformer with two parts. Of course, it makes sense. If you put the two parts together, it creates the electromagnetic field, allowing the input voltage from the primary coil to transfer into the secondary coil, which powers the device. Therefore, in this device, it recharges the battery, allowing the toothbrush to work. And now let's go ahead and remove the second half of that transformer, which I call the primary transformer. Oh, a neodymium magnet. Of course, it makes sense, allowing the toothbrush to sit in place. A very nice neodymium magnet. Definitely going to use that for something. Put that to the side. And now let's go ahead and remove the circuit. Carefully remove that transformer without damaging it. And there, it comes out just like this. This part of the housing is now useless. Now let's go a little deeper, and this right here is a water pump. Carefully remove it, and carefully remove the wire. And now bottom housing is now removed. And as you can see, it's just a basic water pump. I can probably use this to make a water fountain, possibly. Looks very interesting. And this right here is a 12-volt power supply, and you can see that it's perfectly insulated, perfectly watertight, which means this can be easily submerged into water and not short-circuit anything. That's actually very useful. I could possibly keep this on this device and use this as a water pump or a water fountain, or maybe use this to make some underwater LEDs. Possibly, I don't know. That could be very interesting and potentially very useful. And you can see that it's filled up with some kind of epoxy, which allows it to be perfectly waterproof. Very nice, and potentially very useful. Probably use this for some type of watertight projects, if I want to keep things waterproof. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut these wires and remove the circuit from this power supply, because I'm going to keep this power supply for something else. Cut the wires on the DC motor. This circuit could potentially be useful for something. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it for some of the components and keep it for that transformer. And this water pump can definitely be useful for something. And here are all of the items that I have salvaged. This right here is a water pump, and I can definitely use this for some kind of project. Maybe make a water fountain out of it. Not really sure, but I'll come up with something interesting with this. A neodymium magnet. These are always very useful for stuff. Definitely going to keep that for something. And of course, these little transformers, potentially useful for something, and also inspires me to create a new idea to make another project like that. And some of these surface mount components that are on this circuit, I could possibly use. What I'm going to do is just leave it on the circuit, and whenever I need a component, I just simply go ahead and remove it off from the circuit, just so I don't lose these components. But definitely those transformers are very useful. Might even use it for some kind of wireless device by keeping the circuit intact. Not really sure, but I might do that. This waterproof 12-volt power supply is definitely something I want to keep, especially if I want to do some kind of project that requires something to be waterproof. Maybe even use it for this fountain, possibly. And this right here is the DC motor. I could possibly use this DC motor for something. Screws are very useful. A spring can be useful too. This circuit right here goes to the electric toothbrush. I can definitely use this for a future project. In fact, in a future video, I have an idea of something I want to try with this. Make sure you're subscribed so that way you can see this in a future video, because I'm definitely going to do something with this. And there you have it. Now you know what's inside of a water jet toothbrush, how it works, and what kind of components that are worth salvaging. Thank you for watching SciTi Tech. I hope you learned something new, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and of course click on the bell icon to be notified of future SciTi Tech videos. Till the next tech, goodbye.